Let's have a brief recap on the first security matrix type, technical diagnostic matrix, that security analysts can use for diagnosing security incidents or issues. So far, we have discussed three categories of technical metrics: perimeter defenses, coverage and control, availability and reliability. Technical activity matrices are ideally suited to serve as diagnostic matrices because they fulfill many of the qualities the good matrix should have. They are expressed as numbers, incorporate clear units of measure, and can generally be computed on a frequent basis because their data flow from deployed IT and security software packages. From this section, we'll look into the last category, application security metrics that can be used to quantify application risks, such as defect counts, cyclomatic complexity, and application risk indices help quantify the risks inherent to homegrown code and third-party software. Applications are the electronic engines that drive most business. For instance, e-commerce applications, order processing and management software, supply chain management, and ERP, enterprise resource planning system, etc. Application can be in-house developed or could be packaged or outsourced or served on demand, such as on-premise or in the cloud. Application threat vectors are less well understood than network-based threats, but they are just as important. Gartner Group stated that 75% of attacks tunneled through or used application-related threat vectors. Measuring the relative security of application code is hard. The security industry has not arrived at a consensus about exactly what it means to build a secure application. It represents an entirely separate measurement domain with its own diagnostics. There are three ways to measure application security. First, by counting remotely and locally exploitable flaws without the knowledge of the code, called black box matrix. They count defects detected by scans. By creating qualitative risk indices using a weighted scoring system, qualitatively processed matrix and indices, they measure the spread of a secure development process via the frequency of security reviews and go-live assessments. And by counting design and implementation flaws in the code, also called code security matrix. They allow organizations to quickly score application security risk across an entire portfolio of applications. Code metrics such as vulnerability density and cyclomatic complexity provide raw measures of how secure and reliable code modules are likely to be. Black box metrics are using scanning or penetration testing tool to count remotely and locally exploitable flaws without knowledge of the code. Black box testing involves assessing an application, typically remotely via the web. The method of assessment varies. For high-volume testing, automated black box testing tools from SPI Dynamics, Synzic, Watchfile allow companies to quickly scan a large number of deployed applications for potential vulnerabilities. Automated tools are best suited to testing web applications. A typical black box web security testing tool spiders an application by starting at a known URL. After it enumerates all application pages, an automated fuzzer or fault injector examines the web forms on each page, looking for weaknesses. In the non-automated camp are security consultants who conduct tests as part of a formally scoped engagement. Consultants tend to be more expensive than automated black box tool, but can find issues and root causes that the tool cannot. Regardless of the method used, the objective of testing is the same: to find vulnerability or defects that can be exploited to compromise the application's confidentiality, integrity, or availability. SQL injection is manipulating submitted web form fields to trick databases into disgorging sensitive information. Command injection, executing native operating system commands on the web server. Parameter tampering is changing submitted web form fields to change the application state. Cross-site scripting, submitting malformed input that will cause subsequent users to execute malicious JavaScript commands that hijack their sessions or capture data. Buffer overflows is overfilling a server-side buffer in an effort to make the server crash or to take it over remotely. These results of black box tests are typically simple counts of what defects were found, the category to which they belong, and where. Security consultants generally, as a part of the engagement, prioritize the vulnerabilities they find and assign them a criticality rating, high, medium, or low.